Hi again guys, and welcome to another circuit setup for Gran Turismo Sport, this time for the last car of the 5 that we're looking at, the Lancia Stratos, a car which has the relatively unique capability of going all the way down to the lowest class in the game, while still being a very historically significant and also pretty quick and expensive car. Now that could be a good thing, or it could be a pointless thing. Some of these cars don't fare too well in N100, and other ones really do. Thankfully though, this is one which does fare very well. In fact, this is now my second quickest N100 build that I've done on YouTube, second only to the modern Abarth Fiat 500. And this is, incidentally, quicker than the classic Mini, which anyone who's checked out my footage of that going around, for instance, the Nordschleife here on the channel, it's an absolute monster of a car. Now, as far as the upgrades go, the great news is you don't even need to do anything to it. You can drop the weight if you want to, but you don't even have to. So technically, you could probably even make this easily quicker than I have just by dropping that weight. To be honest, when I was building the tune, I completely forgot to do that. So doubtless you could make it even quicker. As far as the power, that's pretty simple. You don't need to upgrade that because it's just N100 anyway. If you want to tune this up to N200 or potentially even higher, then by all means you can do that, but this is just optimized for N100 initially. So it's down to you what you want to use it for. Traction control, of course, that'll depend on your personal experience. If you want to have some traction control, by all means go ahead. You're faster without it, ultimately, if you learn though, so I would recommend trying to work towards that. For the tyres, we've got Sport Softs, as I've said a number of times. The reasons for that, it's pretty simple. As far as the brake balance, we haven't touched that. For the suspension, we've got 100mm, front and rear. For the frequency, 2.2, front and back again. Anti-roll is pretty high. To be honest, you could take this one even higher if you wanted to, kind of like what we did for the 250 GT tune. But I've got it on 8 and 7. You might want to try it, for instance, on 10 and 9 or 10 and 8 as an example, see if you prefer that. For the compression, we've got 64. Then for the rebound, 92. 1 degree of camber, probably not as much as you might assume, given the Stratos' nature and its handling. It's kind of notorious. The toe is neutral. The downforce is neutral, because you cannot adjust that, of course. As far as the diff, I would recommend the lowest settings all round, but if you do know a setup that you prefer, of course, by all means go for that. That's the point of the tunes. Hybridize them, make kind of a Frankenstein between your tune and my tune. Who knows, you may even make it quicker. And finally, for the transmission, of course, this is for N100 in particular, so you will want to make these gears longer if you have more power, but for N100, you want the fully customized transmission. I would recommend an auto setting of 112 miles per hour, which is, what, around 170, maybe 180 kilometers per hour. Then for the gears themselves, 3960, 2475 at 1.9, 1486 and 1092 with a final drive of 3.6. So that's it for the setup. As I said, you do not have to keep this in N100. You could tune it up to N2 or N3 if you want to, but I would recommend trying it in N100 just to begin with, because you might find that it's kind of a weapon that you can use. But of course, what you want to see is taking it out to our test course of choice to compare laps to our existing tunes. Now, as I mentioned toward the start of this video, it's not quite the quickest N100 build that I've done. The laps, as you can see in this video, go down from just under a 2:07, then a 2:06, then a 2:05, and ultimately breaking into the 2:04 range. So there are definitely, for sure, drivers, of course, that could go quicker than that, but even just cars, with me driving them as well, that can go quicker. The most outstanding one being the deceptively good, I mean, I did not expect it to remain on top for so long, the Abarth 500. I did not ever think that that would be the fastest N100 car that I've done, but it's kind of cool because it's such a cheap car. So if you want to try this handling tune and then revise the power, for instance, to N200 and see how that compares, that might be an interesting experiment to see how that compares to, for instance, my N200 tunes that I've done. But either way, most of these tunes are more about the handling than anything else, which allows you to adjust the power as necessary, because it should still remain a pretty good car, if not a great one in some cases. As far as the handling goes, you can still technically get the tail out a little bit, but that's mostly in low speed corners. For a car that has sports tyres, and I haven't dropped the weight even, it handles itself very well. It's a lot better than you'd expect the Stratos to be, and incidentally, this is the exact same tune that I used when I reviewed the car a couple of days ago. So again, you can see its kind of potential not only here at Dragon Trail, but also into Lagos as well. So if you do decide to use it, or repurpose the tune, or make some kind of variation of it, whatever you choose, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. Of course, win events, potentially earn its money back even, and overall that's it for this build. So if you want to check out my other tunes, click the playlist showing here on screen, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.